Well, I got to give a shout out to a YouTube channel that I recently discovered. You know how YouTube basically, recommends, little shorts or videos to you? Well, one of the videos they recommended to me was from the YouTube channel Archie Sonic Lore. And it was basically a 11-minute plus video talking about the heinous crimes of Dr. Eggman and, to an extension, Dr. Robotnik, who was pre-Dr. Eggman, or who came before Dr. Eggman, if you will. And it was a very interesting video touching upon a lot of the sillier, if not more serious and darker situations and crimes, things that Eggman and Robotnik before him had done. So I recommend checking that out. But, as I looked through their channel, and I did subscribe to it, as I looked through their channel, I noticed that there were other videos and shorts that they did. One of them was on Bunnie Rabbot and what would have been her crossover issue in Sonic Universe issue 96, part of the Freedom Fighters, I guess you could say Freedom Fighters team-up series, but basically where she would have teamed up with Blaze. Because the way it was going to work out is you're going to have Sonic with Antoine, Bunnie with Blaze, you were going to have Sally with Amy and Cream, and then I think you're going to have Tails with Rotor or something like that. Tails, Rotor, and Nicole maybe. Actually Sally and Nicole would have been with Amy and Cream, but then again, maybe you would have had Tails with Rotor, and that's about it. I don't know how it would have worked, but that's how it seems to have been, I guess you could say, planned out originally before the whole comic book series was canceled when Sega and Archie went their separate ways. But what's interesting about it, though, is what they said in this little short video when they talked about what would have been this team-up. And they talked about what the plot was and everything, how she was brought over there by Marina Raccoon to help Blaze basically repel this in-home invasion by this Null-like inspired character. Well, basically, that's what they would call it. This character was, well, actually not a Null-inspired, but Melpheus, like Melpheus, I think, Maleficus, like inspired character called Null, who's basically I guess you could say a goo creature, slime creature, very similar to Maleficus, and all that, can basically split themselves in multiple pieces and all that, and so on. Well, long story short, Bunnie does help Blaze repel Null and from the castle and everything by absorbing Null's powers. Yeah, she actually takes the powers on herself, and she kind of gets, even though it's a dark kind of dark-like power, she kind of gets her own super form, because of that, even though it's a dark super form, I should say, dark-powered super form, which, basically is going to kill her, because what Null is able to do in his form is absorb others and make them part of him. And he had done that to a guard who basically we get introduced to and basically gets killed by him in this issue. But anyway, Bunnie, like I said, she helps repel Null from the castle, absorbs her power. Blaze is able to cure her, of being infected of this dark power and everything, before it could absorb her and kill her and maybe cause Null to take over her body. Blaze ends up curing her and everything with her powers. And I think it's alluded to that Blaze has dealt with this before in the past, where she's, had to cure others of something similar and everything. So it's alluded to that, she's done it before. But what was interesting, though, is what they said at the end. And I had to look this up myself. I had to use my phone to look it up because my computer, for some reason, likes to, as I've mentioned before, likes to load, do little mini updates in the background. Heck, this morning when I turned my computer on, or basically woke it up from its standby mode and everything, it went into the Google browser went into non-responding, and the time was kind of stuck where it was. And then all of a sudden, after a few minutes, it resumed, and it said, we did a virus scan and everything. And I'm like, I knew you guys were up to something. I knew you were up to something. I mean, I just wish, computers, whether the Windows, Linux, or whatever, would just have these little notifications come up and say, hey, we're doing these updates right now in the background. Don't use your computer for at least a few minutes. Or, hey, we're doing virus updates or scans. Please don't use your computer. And then we'd perfectly understand that. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, getting back on topic, like I said, because of that, I had to use my phone to look it up. And I downloaded the images, and you see them here on the screen. And one of the things that they talked about at the end of that little short video is Blaze, after curing Bunnie of, what she basically absorbed to help save Blaze's kingdom and all that, after Blaze cures her, and thanks her, she also wants to show her something. And she takes her down this hidden corridor, hallway, whatever it is, in her castle. And she brings her up to what looks like to be a stained glass window or some kind of mural, if you will, embedded in the rock, embedded into the castle walls. And when Bunnie sees it, she's in shock, like she can't believe what she's seeing. Now, we don't really see what she's seeing, but we can kind of make out maybe what, she's seeing or something. We're not really sure. But she's kind of like surprised by this. And, she kind of goes into thought. It's like she's kind of conflicted, and everything. Like, could this be something that, she didn't know about because, she was too young to know or anything? Or, basically what this does is it kind of throws her off a little bit, because it's like, whoa, this is like, what's this? What's this about? It's like, what's this connection it has to me and all that. And unfortunately, we never got to find that out because, again, like I said, the book was canceled, and everything. The book was canceled. But again, it's interesting to see that, and interesting for them to bring it up and all that, because the one question they did bring up is, could it mean, because of Bunnie's reaction, could it mean that Bunnie actually came from Blaze's world? Because you got to remember, this is the post-Sega Genesis wave. This is, this is basically post-reboot, soft reboot, whatever. This is post-Ken Penders, post-Satayam inspired, run of the comics. And basically, things are different. Origins are similar, if not different. And Bunnie's is different, because from what we understand is she was found on South Island or West Side Island. I think it's West Side Island, right where Knothole's now located in the Reboot. But she was found alone and everything, and she was taken in by Charles, Uncle Chuck, Sonic's Uncle Chuck, and Rosie. And basically also given, robotic limbs because I guess, she was injured. She was found injured and everything. But the question was, I'm sure a lot of people would wonder, if they're telling this kind of an origin story for Bunnie, is, basically where was her parents? Where was her parents in all this? Because, obviously it's alluded to the fact that the Freedom Fighters had parents. Sonic had parents. He has an uncle. He had to have parents. Antoine the same way. Rotor, same way. We see that obviously. And then of course Sally and all them and Dulcie. Come on, Tails. We all know it's alluded to that they have parents either by them mentioning them or visually seeing the parents themselves. But with Bunnie, we never saw her parents. She was just found. So you have to wonder if maybe what Ian Flynn and his crew were, getting prepared to do, was probably in the main comic and maybe spinning it off into a Sonic Universe story, down the line, had the book not been canceled. You got to wonder if we were going to find out maybe, the fact that Bunnie, the reason she was found alone as a child was because she was teleported there from Blaze's world. Her family teleported there or teleported her there for her own safety, maybe from, an invasion or an attack by Eggman Nega. You have to wonder. You have to wonder if that's what happened because, again, you look at those panels and Bunnie's reaction is like she's in shock, like she can't believe what she's seeing. And it's almost like, Blaze, she knows. It's like Blaze, again, here's the thing about these panels, that Adam Bryce Thomas did, and he did a great job. We don't have dialogue, unfortunately. The only person that knows what the dialogue would have been is Ian Flynn. So we don't have dialogue, but it's almost like Blaze kind of knows, that Bunnie might be from her world, but is unsure. Maybe it's alluded to, and maybe we do find out that her and Bunnie were best friends when they were young kids. We don't know. So it's going to be really something to think about, as a fan, because it's not one of those what if scenarios of what could have been. And I would have loved, honestly, this is my honest opinion, I would love to get Ian Flynn's take on this. I would love for Ian Flynn to come out, because I know enough time has passed. I would love for Ian Flynn to come out and at least acknowledge. Hold on, guys. That's the phone ring. That's my mom. Hold on for a sec. Like I was saying, I would love to, find that out eventually, down the line, to see exactly, what he had planned and everything. So, yeah, I just thought I'd come out and talk about this real quickly, give you my thoughts on it. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys. How do you feel about it? Would you like to see an answer to it? Let me know down below. And until then, guys, I will talk to y'all later.